As we all know from having passed Law of Attraction 101, whatever we give our attention to will grow in our lives. If we use our powerful attention to dwell on lack and limitation or what's not going well, we will manifest more of it. If we put our attention on what is good and abundant, we will manifest more good and abundance. So why is it that even when we're putting our attention in all the right places, sometimes we just feel energetically thwarted? It's a tongue twister. Hi, I'm Deborah Poneman with Yes to Success, where I share knowledge and tools for you to create your ultimate life. And there are probably a lot of reasons why we might feel thwarted in our efforts to live our ultimate lives, but one just might be that there are too many people around us whose thoughts are not supporting our success and happiness. Although I believe that everyone is truly doing the best they can given their own life circumstances, you might want to ask yourself, are there people in my life who are creating a field of resistance that might be holding me back? Are there people who, for one reason or another, might not want me to succeed? Is it really the smartest thing to continue to have these people in my life? So I want to share with you a powerful experience I had in the ER room that made me ponder this question more deeply. Can other people's thoughts really have an effect on my happiness and my success and my well-being? So here's what happened. So one day I thought I was coming down with the flu, but usually when that happens, I just knock it right out with, a little echinacea, a little golden seal, a little vitamin C, you know the drill. But even though I executed all of my usual routine, as the days passed, I realized that this one was not going away. And after about 4 days, I was sicker than I had ever remember being. In fact, the morning of the 5th day, I was lying in bed and thinking I could die here. So I called my local energy healer and I asked him to help me. And he said, yes, I'll help you, but you have to promise you'll do exactly what I tell you to do. And I whispered, I'll do anything, because I thought I was dying. And he said, call 911 immediately. I couldn't even dial the phone. He had to call 911 for me. And when the paramedics arrived and asked what hospital I wanted to go to, I told them, and they commiserated, and they decided that I might not survive the 11-minute ride to my chosen hospital. And they decided to take me to a little hospital about 3 minutes away around the corner. My blood pressure, by the way, was something like 57/28, kind of not compatible with life. And it turned out that I had an acute sepsis, not one, but 2 types of deadly bacteria in my blood. When you have one, you can look it up, you can Google it, you have about 50% chance of survival. So when I arrived at the ER, I started to lose consciousness. I guess I had what might be termed a near-death experience, but I didn't go through any dark tunnel or see any kind of being of light. I just noticed that when my eyes were open, I could see everybody in the room running around trying to save my life. And when my eyes were closed, I could see everybody running around in the room trying to save my life. But I saw, in that place between life and death, I saw that everything was orchestrated by this radiant divine light. It was a moving light. And I saw how every movement of every person's hands was being guided by the light, and that there is no such thing as a mistake. You know how people say there's no mistakes in the universe? I saw that there were no mistakes in the universe. Even when one of the nurses fumbled an IV bag and it landed on the gurney, I saw that when she bent her head down, her head had been blocking a monitor. And when she bent down to pick up the IV bag, one of the other nurses saw the monitor, and they went and they made an adjustment that probably saved my life. No mistakes in the universe. And then I noticed that I could see the power of people's words and thoughts. I could feel the thoughts of the people who figured I was probably going to die anyway, and it was just another day in the emergency room. And even those people who wanted me to speed up the death thing so that they could get home. And I also felt, and saw the thoughts of the people who really wanted me to live. And then the most amazing thing happened. By then, my former husband had arrived, and were and still are very, very close. The healer had called him and told him to get over to the hospital, and he was very distressed. And one of the nurses noticed how distressed he was. He had a little tear rolling down his cheek, and she went over and she put her hand on his shoulder and she said, "Don't worry, she's going to be fine." And when she said those words, when the words came out of her mouth, I saw this sparkling pink light, this kind of energy. I say it was like My Little Pony, like, those rainbows. Doo-doo-doo. It was like the word "she's going to be fine" came out of her mouth, and they went into my body. And the word "she's going to be fine" made me fine. And then a few moments later, the doctor came in and looked at the monitors, and in a very tense and urgent voice, he said, "Get that blood pressure up or we're going to lose her." And as he said the words, "we're going to lose her," I saw those words were accompanied by this like gray brown energy. It was kind of like this gunk, and it even smelled like a swamp, and it went out of his mouth and went into my body, and it took all of my strength away. And I remember, as I was clinging to life by a thread, I had the clear realization that if everybody in the room would have just turned to me and said or thought, "She's going to be fine," I could have gotten up off the gurney and headed to the gym for a workout. Actually, if you saw the movie What the Bleep, you'd know that there is ample scientific evidence proving that matter and reality are affected by our thoughts and our words. In fact, a few years ago, a dear friend of mine, a woman named Lynn McTaggart, began a global movement called the Intention Experiment. And the Intention Experiment is a series of scientifically controlled experiments testing the power of intention to actually change the physical world. Thousands of volunteers from 30 countries participated with really astonishing results, all of which have been verified by leading research. I think the research was done at Princeton and Cambridge, and I know that some was done at the International Institute of Biophysics and the Institute of Noetic Sciences. And in her pilot experiment, Lynn asked a group of people based in London to direct their thoughts to 4 remote targets in a laboratory in Germany. And the targets were 2 types of algae, 1 plant, and 1 human volunteer. And the people in London were asked to attempt to lower certain measurable parameters in the 4 targets. And the results, well, the doctors in Germany found significant changes in all 4 targets. That means that people in London, through their thoughts, created changes in the algae, the plants, and even the human volunteers in Germany. And now Lynn has gone on to experiment with groups of people, putting their attention on each other's success and happiness and physical and emotional healing through what she calls the groups of 8. So 8 people putting their attention on one member of the group at a time. And the miracles that these group intentions have created for individuals are far beyond what they could have created for themselves, including healings. I can't even, loved ones being reunited, monetary windfalls, houses selling in 24 hours that had been on the market for years, lost pets showing up, so much more. So if this is all true, wouldn't it be fantastic to have people around you who genuinely desire your success and happiness? Or better yet, why not get a group of friends who all agree to intention the fulfillment of each other's goals and desires? Put together your own group of 8 or 6 or 4 and see what magic you can create for each other. And maybe you might want to put your attention on the world while you're at it. Oh, and you also might want to take an inventory of your current mates. And I mean mates in the Australian sense, like your comrades, because it might be time to clean house. So thanks for listening, taking the time to be with me today. Hope what I shared was useful, and I wish you success, happiness, and your ultimate life with lots of people around you wishing the best for you and your life.